It's having so many people, like 5, 6, 7,000 people in matches. It's crazy. The goal is always to be a national champion, and that's the goal I've had since my freshman year of college at Harvard. And for me, it's either you go big or you don't do it at all.
What's up, everybody? John Forcer here, Breakdown from the Barn. We're on episode 56. With me, as always, the greatest mind in wrestling, Eric Winnuck, and we're here with big Yaraslau Slaikouski here. How you doing, Yara?
Doing great, thank you.
Nice. And we started, the last episode, we started talking about the camaraderie with the team and everything. You talked about, your relationship with John Poz. You guys seem to be a great 1-2 punch at the end of that lineup there. Like, tell us about how that formed and everything. And, I see you guys out on the beach when you went out west. Just tell us a little bit about that, working relationship.
Yeah, no, Boz is a great guy, and I think we hit it off with him right away. Just in the room, in the wrestling room, wrestling together, lifting together. I went to his home like a few times. His family always invites me for dinner. So very nice people. His sisters, his mom, his dad, everybody. His granddad. So he's a great guy. Good to be around with. He's all very, very focused, very goal oriented. He's already an All-American, but he's still hungry for more. He wants to be on that podium. He wants to be a national champion, and it's good to have people like that around you who are always pushing you and pushing the limits and don't let you slack and kind of always competing with you. So that's awesome. It's always good to spend time with him, and so. Me and Poz, I think we've had a great relationship. Also, like every time we travel, we live together. Two biggest guys, 97 to 85. I feel like that's a classic scenario. Don't have to cut that much weight, so we can enjoy the food a little bit, go out together, and don't suffer as much as some of those lightweights have to. So it's been great so far.
Yeah, you're a smart man. You went to Harvard. That's why you're a heavyweight. That's good thought process there.
Yeah. It took a while to become a real heavyweight, but yeah.
It's all good. It's funny we talk about they ought to have a 220 weight class because I think Kyle Snyder was a 230-pound weight class when he first got into heavyweight, and he said he still was able to win a national championship. But talking about the end of that lineup, you and Poz, and the excitement it brings in Jersey Mike's. And we haven't really touched into this yet. You briefly talked about the facilities and so forth, but one of the biggest draws, I think, to wrestle for Rutgers is there's about maybe 5 schools that have the same atmosphere, whether it's Iowa or Penn State, obviously Oklahoma State. But tell us about what it's like to wrestle in Jersey Mike's with that crowd and that big, loud Jersey audience. Kind of get into that, what it was like the first impression coming from Harvard, what it was like to be in a Big Ten match at Jersey Mike's.
Oh yeah, it's very different. It's having so many people, like 5, 6, 7,000 people in matches. It's crazy. Like it's good that during the preseason we have practices there sometimes, like even with the empty stands, and just to be in that arena, to have that kind of feeling, to get used to wrestling there. It's great. It's hard to describe that. For me, I never really experienced that before coming to Rutgers. Maybe at the national championships, my senior year at Harvard, that was the closest it got. Because even like with the European championships and the world championships, whenever you travel, and especially for me, it was like cadets, like U17, U20, U20, like for all those like age categories, they usually don't have that many people in the stands. It's never like in thousands of people. It's like 2, 3, maybe 400 of people. I feel like the similar atmosphere I had at Harvard. So yeah, it was a big change for me. It took some time to get used to the crowd, the cheering, and how loud it gets there. It's pretty awesome. But at the end of the day, you still have to kind of lock in and focus on the match. And then with the headgear especially too, sometimes it's hard to hear the coaches. So then the crowd, everything else just kind of shuts out. But yeah, it's awesome. It's a good atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to wrestling Jersey Mike's Arena this season.
Yeah, we get rowdy there and we love it. And I'll tell you what, the guy that kind of created that atmosphere, Scott Goodale, just got inducted to the Lock Haven Hall of Fame. So congrats, Scott, for that. What's your view of Scott Goodale as a coach, as the face of the program,
Yeah, no, he's a great guy, good coach, and he knows how to get things done. He knows how to, he brought this program to the new level with the recruiting, with just the development of the program and the attention from the fans. I think he's done it all. He's brought in world class coaches and sparring partners, RTC training, and we always see the top wrestlers doing clinics here at our RTC at the Rutgers wrestling room. So it's been great. It's been great to get to know him and to have developed that relationship over this past year.
Yep. And speaking of great coaches, obviously Donnie Pritzloff's moved on. You could always tell
Yep.
kind of breaks where you guys he'd be working on things with you kind of at the intermission. So I know he was very involved, kind of with not just in the room, but even during match prep. But Rutgers did bring in a gentleman by the name of Mike Labriola. And I think that is a tremendous hire for the Rutgers program for a couple of reasons. One, you're bringing in a 5-time All-American, someone who could have been a national champion if he didn't run into one of these, these legendary PSU wrestlers. But what's it like to have a heavyweight, he's not a heavyweight, but definitely an upper level weight class wrestler with those accolades to come in the room, kind of bang it out with you and John?
Yeah, no, it's awesome to have him, and haven't spent a lot of time with him. It's been only like a couple of weeks, maybe like a month since he came in, but already wrestled with him once. He's obviously a very good wrestler. He has a great feel, very relaxed, very loose and explosive. So it's awesome. He's going to be a very good addition and very good sparring partner for like a lot. I think like half of our lineup. So that's already a big plus. And yeah, no, he's been great so far. Very very good guy. I think it's going to be very beneficial for a lot of guys on the team right now and in the future. It's always good to have all Americans, people who have done it, people who know what it takes to get to that next level and to be on the podium.
Nice. And now Rutgers wrestling. I mean, I need to bring this up on the podcast just because of the timing of it. Came out this week. Flo posted something, and might be more of a question for you, Anuk. I think they were asking about the most underrated wrestler in NCAA history. So they brought up Andrew Spray brought up a Rutgers guy named Tanis. Most people brought up the Tyler Caldwells, guys that were like so close to winning nationals, but didn't get over that hump. But I liked Andrew Spade's choice and Tom Tanis. I want to throw it to you, Yar. What are your thoughts on Tom Tanis coming to Rutgers as a new guy? I mean, you don't hear of him, right? You don't know about him.
Yeah, that's usually how it is. Yeah, you don't hear about it, you don't know about him, and but yeah, I mean, personally, I'll be honest, I don't know much about him either. Still, even being at Rutgers, which is probably not a good look for me, but I'll take all the criticism. So
yeah, but I think that's what it is with the question. It's saying who's underrated, who's underappreciated. What's your view, Winnock?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, with Tom Tanis, so give you a little background here. Tom Tanis comes from our kind of era, couple of years after me. And, he had what I think locally, one of the biggest upsets you could see, a gentleman by the name of Damian Hahn. I don't know if you've heard of him, but this is a local legend, okay? And for him to knock him off and take fourth and to be, I think that was that first All-American under for Versace at the time. I think it was a great pick. It was a great outside the box pick. So if you ever want to kind of research that thing, what was it, 2002, John? Keep me honest here.
Yeah, 2002.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back when he beat Damian Hahn and took fourth in the nation. And for this little punky dump program that wrestled back here, practiced in the barn, and was drawing maybe 32 fans, let alone 3,200 or 5,000, for Tom to have that kind of run was fantastic. In fact, you'll see Tom at the national championships when Nick Suriano won the national championships on ESPN. You actually see my son holding the flag, and right beneath him, you see Tommy Tanis with his arms up live on ESPN. So he had that moment as well. But I think it was a great pick, John.
Yeah, and also, with Tom Tanis too, I'm going to throw this out there. It wasn't just a fluke outside of the box run.
No,
This guy
no.
had some monster wins in college. I mean, his junior year, he won the EIWAs and he knocked off Ron Roan, who was a national champ the next year. And his sophomore year, this is how crazy, the EIWAs, they got a little better since then, but they were still a very tough conference. He took third in the EIWAs. His only loss was again to Ron Roan, who he beat the next year, national champ, takes third, doesn't get a bid to nationals. And that, I think he had a lot of big wins along the way, knocked off a lot of guys in the top 5, battled some injuries. So he had a couple funky losses in there too, because he was kind of hurt or coming back from injuries, but definitely a guy that when you say who's underrated, that's someone that doesn't get a lot of publicity out there. It took a long time for Anthony Perotti to break the curse of Tom Tanis to get Goodale's first All-American to bust through.
And John, since you mentioned Darren Caldwell, I had to flip it. I had to go
there you
jump
go.
into the Rory wrestling room. So
Tyler Caldwell is who they said. I don't think
I know who you meant,
Darren
but since you
Caldwell.
mentioned
But
Darren
Caldwell
Caldwell, everyone knows who that is. So
too. He's
yep.
he's very good.
Yeah. So just talking about national championships and all these great wrestlers, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. Obviously, a big moment for you. Rutgers has had a lot of great heavyweights in the past, DJ Russo, Billy Smith. But these guys really, I think it was Ed Shearer or something like that was the last one to break through in the 60s. So you were the first heavyweight to All-American for Rutgers. But talk us about that big win in the blood round. Obviously, I think it was the second seed younger. So what was it like going into that match to prep and walking off knowing that, my God, I just did it, and I did it in such a fashion and knock off such a big name?
Yeah, it was a great match. It was just an overall, I think, a relatively good tournament for me. I mean, always looking back, I wish I could have done some things differently and performed a little bit differently, get a little higher on the podium. But it is what it is. That's why I have another year in my in my career. But yeah, that match against Younger was great. I mean, I usually don't really care about the seeds. So yes, he was seeded number 2. Like I watched some of his matches throughout the season. I think his couple of his matches at the Clifton tournament in Vegas. So I knew what to expect, and I'm sure maybe they watched some film on me. I mean, like everybody watches film, but I don't know. I think it was stylistically for me just an easier match than some of the other guys, some of the other heavyweights, because there is a lot of wrestling. He's the guy who creates wrestling, who goes for the shots, who's risky, who takes risks, and that's why I think with him it was a very interesting match, very offensive match, a lot of attacks, re-attacks, upper body stuff. So yeah, I think also having Sarmat, one guy at our RTC, he's a guy from Russia, from a state. I think he has a very similar style, similar like outside step, outside, like all those shots were very kind of familiar to me when I started wrestling younger in the match. I was like, oh, like I've seen that before. I've felt that before. So it was that's why it was maybe a little bit easier for me to adjust during the match and to get the win on that date. But yeah, it's wrestling. It's one day you're on that day, on that specific day, and that specific time, I was better, and that's how it goes.
Nice. Yeah, that was a great match. We were going nuts here. Let's talk about this year. What's the goals for this season?
The goal is always to be a national champion, and that's the goal I've had since my freshman year of college at Harvard. And I know the seeds or maybe the rankings don't always show that, don't always represent that, but that's the goal. And for me, it's either you go big or you don't do it at all. So my work ethic and my approach to wrestling, I think shows that, and that's for coaches or somebody else to speak on that. But I always train, I always try to do my best in all aspects of life, like recovery, getting ready, like doing the best I can on the mat, off the mat, getting those extra workouts to be in great shape. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to my last NCAA tournament, and it should be a good one. It should be a good one. I already feel good. I had a great, very productive summer, and I'm already feeling good shape. So even if the NCAA tournament was next week, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to wrestle and get after it.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and luckily, you're lucky. I mean, it's right close. It's in Philly, so you're going to get a lot of Rutgers fans there. You're lucky they got Xfinity Live there, so they're going to be pretty pumped up between sessions and headed back over and pulling for you. I think we're going to expect a big tournament for you at Nationals. I think with a lot of the Rutgers guys at Nationals, we're going to get a big turnout, big tournament, so we're pumped. So great having you on. Good luck in the season. Follow the show. Make sure everyone follows the show on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify, and we'll see you at Jersey Mike's, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for doing it.